Welcome to Space Aid Boot Camp. At this station, you will receive an explanation, demonstration, and a practical exercise in military space-available travel. Take out a pen and paper, prepare a copy, and hold all questions until the end. Let's get started. Welcome to the Space Aid Boot Camp video series. What I wanted to do here was put together a series of videos that broke down on a step-by-step basis the process for successfully signing up for space aid travel. In this video series, I'm going to have a sequence of videos that cover the topics of research, the sign-up process, marking yourself present and roll call, boarding your flight and travel advice, and finally arriving successfully at your destination. I hope you find this Space Aid Bootcamp series useful as you plan your next space aid trip. So let's get started and let's talk about research. So for purposes of this video on researching your space aid trip, I'm going to focus on three primary sources for the best information. Those being the AMC travel page, spaceaid.net, and the website poppingsmoke.com. So let's get into those resources. In starting your research, I believe there are 5 items that are going to shape you for success. First, determine your eligibility. Second, determine your category. Third, secure your identification and documentation. 4, identify the best locations for your trip. 5, research routes and recurring flight schedules. So let's start with eligibility. The authoritative source for determining your air transportation eligibility for space aid travel is DoD Instruction 4515.13. You can Google this document. It's publicly available on the internet, and you'll notice that it was updated as recently as March 2nd, 2022. The internet, of course, is full of opinions about who is eligible to fly and where. This document is the authoritative source for eligibility. Obviously, it's pretty lengthy and could be difficult for some folks to read, but if you scroll down to page 39, it gives a good detailed breakdown of who is eligible to fly and by category. So this is where you want to look if you have questions about which category you might fall into. And the columns on the right spells out where you can fly to and from based on your category and eligibility. Now that you've determined your eligibility for yourself and your family, you'll want to make sure that you have current military ID cards and U.S. passports for yourself and your eligible dependents. Eligible dependents must have identification cards and be registered in the DEERS system. That registration can be updated or made current when you receive your dependent military ID cards. When you do travel, don't leave it up to your dependents to keep track of their identification and passports. And remember that only the sponsor can update the information in the DEERS system. Next, you will want to research the best passenger terminal departure locations for your possible trip. To get started, familiarize yourself with the location of passenger terminals that are in your part of the country or state by visiting spaceaid.net. Just select the category. In this case, I chose passenger terminals, and the country, of course, is the United States, which generates this map showing all passenger terminals in the U.S. However, you want to be aware that although this system lists these military installations that may have passenger terminals, as is the case with Beale Air Force Base in my own backyard, they are an installation that has no space aid travel opportunities. This is primarily driven by the types of missions that are being carried out at any given installation. SpaceAid.net is a great tool to get familiarity with the Space Aid passenger terminal locations in your region. You can also pull up passenger terminal specific information and the AMC Gram, which will give a ton of critical information to help you navigate that specific passenger terminal and installation successfully. And here you have key contact phone numbers as well as an installation map to help you get around. And that's a huge advantage to have in your back pocket as you travel. So next let's go to the AMC website. You can get there by Googling Air Mobility Command, then go to the AMC travel site, select Space A Travel. Here you'll find very useful travel instructions, and this gives you a very thorough step-by-step overview of what AMC needs for Space A travelers to be successful. Below that section, once again, you'll see the travel eligibility listing, and you can open that up to drill down further and get more information. And beneath that section, you'll find the Space A sign-up options, where you can either complete a manual sign-up form or an automated sign-up form, but we'll have more information and detail about that in the next video. Backing up to this Space A travel site, you can scroll down to find the AMC passenger terminal directory. Knowing your travel eligibility and whether you're restricted to CONUS and U.S. territories, or whether you can travel to Europe and Asia as well, will determine how you use this section. Just focusing on CONUS terminals, I live in California, so most of the West Coast passenger terminals, whether they're Air Force or Navy, are primarily the gateways to the Pacific and East Asia. Travis Air Force Base is the closest passenger terminal for me. So I focus on the schedules for Travis Air Force Base, the 72-hour schedule, 30-day schedule, as well as the roll call. Each one of these documents can tell me something different about what's happening at this passenger terminal. You get up to a 72-hour forecast of flights that are scheduled for roll call departing the terminal that you select. And as you can see, most of the flights are to and from Hawaii. The 30-day schedule gives you a projection of the schedule for the Patriot Express. The roll call is a very important document because it gives you a wrap-up of flights that have gone out over the past some number of weeks, their destinations, the number of seats released, and the number of seats used. This is very important because as you compare the number of seats actually released and used to the number of packs that competed for seats, it can give you a clearer picture of how many people are actually successfully competing for seats. And in this case, if you look at it, you'll notice that the number of people who are actually using seats corresponds exactly to the number that is competing. So what that means is, in this case, everyone who competed for a flight was able to get on those flights. And so that gives you an idea of what your probability of successfully competing looks like in any given time frame. It can change, but it gives you a clearer picture of what's happening there at that location. And finally, I want to recommend a website, popandsmoke.com. If you're a dependent, you may or may not be familiar with this military slang term, which means generally to depart or leave. Anyway, I want to bring this website to your attention because Stephanie has become an expert in flying space available and living overseas. This website has a huge source of information to help you prepare for and have a great Space A travel experience. So the bottom line is, the more research you do, the more prepared you'll be to have a good experience with your Space A trip. I hope that you find this video and the information in it useful. Please join us by hitting the bell button below for notifications and subscribing. That way you'll be notified when we upload the next video in this series, which will be on signing up for Space A travel. Again, thank you for joining us, and as always, I look forward to seeing you on the beaches.
It's been a while since we had our chats.